I think the way the milestones were set up on the COTS program actually were pretty consistent with what I was used to on the commercial side. I worked for many years in our commercial geosynchronous spacecraft programs. And the milestones as laid out in the Space Act Agreement were clear. They required progress, measurable progress that NASA could review and say, is orbital ATK making the progress necessary to become a success? Or are they off track for whatever reason? I found the milestones to be certainly fairly defined, not easily achievable, but I think for whether it be for us or other providers, were good yardsticks by which we can measure our progress. And so if you look at the list of milestones, they were a combination of progress on the design side, progress on the hardware side, progress on the software side, testing milestones. And so each milestone, as I saw it, was a good representation of sort of a way station. Are you making the progress you need to make to get where you need to get to have a successful system? I would say one of the differences between pure commercial milestones, which can tend to be maybe more finance-based, was there were some specific hardware, software development milestones which you normally might not encounter on a commercial program. In this program, I think they were essential to ensure that we were on the right track. And it was essential for NASA to understand that and be able to review the data, review the success or lack of success of that testing, and then be able to apply that to the success criteria of the milestone. So I thought they were well placed, well valued, and at the end of the day helped the program succeed. As it relates to how the milestones were defined on the Space Act Agreement, typically I prefer milestones that are defined at a little bit higher level and not be overly specific, to allow the contractor to approach them in the way that they typically approach them. Meaning, if they're defined overly specifically, you could find yourself with entrance criteria, for instance, for a design review that's in conflict to how a contractor might operate. And therefore, getting into the design review might be more difficult than it needs to be. Certainly, there has to be some structure. It can't be free-for-all without any clear entrance criteria. But I think if they're defined at a high enough level to allow the contractor to operate in their typical way, I think that's the most effective way to do it. I think it allows the contractor to operate most efficiently, but there's still enough structure that NASA will be able to assess the progress and assess their ability to meet the milestone. One of the benefits of the way the milestones were defined on this particular program was that they were defined at a high enough level that allowed our team to creatively approach how they were going to be satisfied. I think a great example is in a hardware-software testing milestone that we had. It didn't prescribe how the test needed to be run and what the results needed to look like exactly. It stated what the requirements were in the milestone and what it had to demonstrate, but how it was going to be demonstrated was left to our team to develop. We kept NASA in the loop so that they understood what our goal was and what the test would look like and what the expected results were, so that they could assess whether or not we had met the milestone. But in terms of how we entered it, how we conducted that test, how we devised it, what the hardware and software looked like, that was left to us. And I think that went hand in hand with the way the overall program was managed. Let the contractors do what they need to do and what they do best. And then as long as you're working with NASA and the ultimate goal is achieved, success is around the corner.